So let me just talk a bit about BCC Group. So BCC Group has been in the market data industry for almost 25 years. We have been providing consulting services to clients all over the world. I would say about 10 years ago, we started building out a product that we call the One Platform. The One Platform is essentially a tool that allows you to ingest data from any source, permission it, and then deliver it all via a single API. So as you see on this screen, on the left-hand side would be any data source, whether it be a exchange or a consolidated provider like a Bloomberg or Refinitiv. It also could be news data or sentiment data, and in this case, it can be regulation data as well. Can be fed into the platform. We can normalize it technically. We can permission it to make sure that only the clients that are supposed to get the data. We can report on it as well for audit purposes, and then we also just deliver it via a single API. So, and the nice thing about that is, if you want to switch from one data source to another, it makes that switching much more straightforward. So that's what we do as a company. And okay, can we go to the next slide? So the reason why clients come to BCC Group is because they've got the desire to do a number of different things. Our most regular client is a client that's in the market data space. That's why the top and the bottom indicate market data, right? And they come to us when they want to do real-time streaming data, when they want to do historical data, delayed data, intraday data, whatever that might be from a market data standpoint, pricing and this kind of stuff, this kind of thing, right? They also come to us because they want to get access to equities and commodities and opera and these kinds of things. So we do all that kind of stuff. But clients also come to us because they want to get access to regulatory data. They want to get access to news data. They want to get access to internal data, contribution data. So we basically, our goal is to get all those data sets flowing into the One Platform so that clients can easily get access to it, can easily change from one provider to the other if they need to, and essentially create this world where everything is much more normal and easy for them to get data. Okay, and we do all of this in the cloud, so we can do it on-prem as well. But we look to do all of this in the cloud, in the public cloud. Okay. And next slide. Okay, sorry. So this is a view of some of the data sources we have on the left. So, and there's many more than this that we have. But you get a sense of what's happening here. You've got FactSet, Refinitiv, Bloomberg, Morningstar, Iris, RegTech Data Hub, which we'll talk about now, FIS data, B3 data from an exchange, Tradition data, and so forth. They're all available in our portfolio of data handlers. So the first step that goes on is the data goes into a feed handler or a data handler. We do some initial transformation of the data. And then if you look at the green box, sort of green olive box up in the top middle, you'll see that that's where all the entitlement is happening, all the permissioning is happening. So all the data is flowing from the data source into the entitlement system, being permissioned by the entitlement system, and then it's being delivered downstream on the customer side into the various applications that the clients need, whether it be databases or it be HTML5 applications or it be analytical applications and so forth. All of that is being delivered, and it will only get delivered if it's been permissioned properly. And it's also all getting delivered via the one single API. So there's no need anymore to have multiple APIs for multiple different providers. You get all of it via the single one API. The other nice thing about the stream situation is that you also can go into an Excel spreadsheet. You can also go into a calculation engine. You could go into a terminal or reviewer. So there's all kinds of different possibilities downstream for you to get access to the data. And then on the bottom of the screen, you see where it talks about administration and the operating of the environment. That's where we do all the access to the turning on and turning off entitlements for users or for feed IDs. That's where we do all the monitoring of the data set and so forth. That's where we do all that stuff. So that's what happens in that in that set. And then we also can use Excel to do latency testing and this kind of thing. So next slide. I'll hand it over to Kenneth, I think.
Yeah, it's Kenneth.
Yeah.
Thank you. It looks nice, Bill. Yeah. So let me introduce you to how we fit in. We, of course, fit in on the left-hand side with the data providers. We primarily deliver regulatory data. One slide back, please.
Sorry.
To give you an idea of what we do, I thought that EMIR-refit should be on almost everybody's mind currently. It goes into effect here the April the 29th. So if you're not started, you are very busy, but most likely you are using a lot of your time looking into how to comply with the EMIR-refit. Now we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So what we do is that the idea is very, very simple. We are collecting data from open source databases. So in US, it's the SEC that displays data through their EDGAR database. In EU, it's ESMA. We collect ISINs and UPIs, which I will talk more about in a minute. From ANA DSB, we have LI codes, CFI codes. So we take all this data, load it into our data lake. We repackage and connect the data points so they assemble a set of regulatory data. And that data we expose to our clients through APIs. It could also be to the one platform. Or we expose it through our website. So our primary client-facing activities is through APIs, so computer communication. Yeah, next slide. So if we look a bit into UPIs, I don't expect you to read this slide. It's just to illustrate that the devil is always in the detail, and this is the same with the EMIR-refit. If you have a derivative and you need and you don't have an ISIN, you need a UPI. That sounds very, very simple, but to find the right UPI is quite cumbersome. Currently, ANA DSB has more than 400 different product templates that you need to ask with the right set of parameters in the right template to get the right UPI back. And that's where we come in, because we have used a lot of time to interpret what ANA is displaying, what they're expecting. And we help you transform your normal trading data. For example, most will have a CFI code. We can use that. We can use the currency cross in FX swaps, the expiry date, and so on and so forth. And we translate that into something where we can get the UPI out and deliver it to you. Next slide. So what DataHub does in this respect is that we collect and we structure both the UPIs and the ISINs from ANA DSB. We store it in our own cloud environment. We handle updates every time ANA DSB publishes a new version of their templates. We update the connections without affecting the client flow. We have a lot of leading specialists who has an in-depth knowledge of both the ANA DSB, also the regulation, here EMIR-refit, and the data management. And combining those three skill sets, we can build an API that is fairly easy to use. It's not that easy because UPIs are a bit tricky, but it's much easier than going directly to ANA DSB. Next slide. Yeah, so EMIR-refit is very relevant currently, but also a bit small. It's only one data point, which makes it easy to explain. We also cover other regulatory environments, for example, MiFID II, where we deliver both the data for transactions reporting. First of all, we can decide whether an instrument is reportable or not reportable. We can attach all the static data that is needed for the transactions reporting, and we can decide whether a product is complex or non-complex for the client-facing side, and we can decide whether it's leveraged or non-leveraged, which decides whether you have to do the 10% surveillance on an instrument level. On solvency, it's also Solvency II. We provide data for the constituents on funds. We have a solution where we can break down and attach the data points that is needed for the solvency reporting for, I think it's S603 template. And streamlining that process, our experience is that this process is very at least semi-manual for a lot of clients. And what we can do is that we can tap into the data from the fund managers, structure the data, and combine it and deliver it into your solvency engine for STP reporting. Last but not least, as many others, we have looked into ESG, which is we have a small solution now, which is CO2 on Danish mortgage bonds. We collect the data points from all the mortgage institutions. We align the data so it's approximately the same data we are distributing to the clients, and thereby taking the task of the single investors to gather the data at all the times. We are looking into expanding our ESG solution in the next years. Yeah, next slide.
Yeah, so I'll jump back in here then, Kenneth, and you can wrap this slide up, right? So basically, what we're most excited about at BCC Group is that we've been primarily focused on market data and streaming data, pricing data, this kind of thing. But our clients have asked us about solvency data and ESG data and so forth, and regulatory data. And so we're excited at BCC Group to now be able to deliver this kind of data to clients as well. And just a little bit of background on us, we're moving data. We're not moving anything specific. As I said, we move news data. We move market data. So to us, this is a data set that we're moving through the platform and permissioning within the platform. So we're excited now. We're now actually going to clients now and saying, if you want to get ESG data through the one platform, through your existing deployment of the one platform, or you're thinking about making a change to a new provider, perhaps, and you're worried about the fact that you might not have access to regulatory data, ESG data, and so forth, we can quell those concerns by saying, listen, via the one platform, you can get access to all of this data as well. Kenneth, maybe you can talk about what's going on the right-hand side of it of this slide.
Yeah, well, you can say that we have the common goal of making it easy for our clients.
Definitely.
Which is data management takes up a larger. It's becoming more and more on the agenda of many places because we consume more and more data at the client side, and getting data and keeping data costs on a reasonable level is on the maybe not the top one, that is ESG data, but it's definitely in the top 3. So managing data, getting the right data, getting the benchmark quality of that you need for doing your reporting is very important at the client side currently. And it's very difficult because a lot of data providers are very aggressive in their pricing strategies. If we look at the authorities, we have seen an increasing interest in the data that has been reported. I think many of you have had the notion that when you do authorities reporting, transactions reporting, it's like it's reported into a black hole where it never comes out of again. But that's not the case. The authorities, through throughout Europe has begun to look into the data that has been reported. We have seen clients that have been asked to do a re-reporting. We have even seen clients being fined for not having an adequate quality in their reporting data. And if we should just put a slight note on the MiFID II data, then we are collecting the data from ESMA, which is the very same data that they use to do their quality checks on the reported data. So our claim is that we have a very, very high quality in the MiFID transactions reporting because we're using the data that they're using for quality assurance. So if they have an error, or if we have an error, they have it as well. So they will not notice it. Yeah. So that's basically it. I think we should wrap it up and see if there are any questions or comments.
So is there one question in there, AK? In the chat? I'm trying to...
Yeah. 2 seconds. I just have to not share my screen anymore.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Just so you don't see everything here. Great.
I can share mine.
Yes, please get it. Right.
There is a question in the chat. It says, how does RegTech Data Hub compare to consolidators like Bloomberg and London Stock Exchange?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Lars?
Yes, the question goes, how does RegTech Data Hub compare to consolidators like Bloomberg and London Stock Exchange?
Well, first of all, you can say both Bloomberg and LSEG are mastodons, and we're the challengers. So I'm proud that we even get the comparison. You can say they offer a lot more data. That's so, and we are only distributing a part of the data that they are. But the huge difference is the first of all the pricing, and then the restrictions that comes with buying the data. If you buy data from us, you have no restrictions. You can use the data for whatever you want to, not reselling it, but you can use it within your organization. You can use it for client reporting. The price is the same. We are not restricting the use of data within your organization. So I would say that's the biggest data, the biggest difference.
And I'll just add to that if a client today is getting their regulatory data from Bloomberg and they want to switch to RegTech Data Hub, they can do that with the one platform. They can keep their Bloomberg market data flowing and all the other things they get from Bloomberg flowing via BPipe, but they can also ingest data from RegTech Data Hub. So if they want to switch their provider, they have that option. Any other questions from the, I don't know if we can take people off mute. If they have a question, they want to raise their hand, they can raise their hand. Anybody else have any other questions? Great. So I think we can,
sir,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Bill, I have a question then. Why would someone go for the one platform if they have an existing market infrastructure today, like based on a Reuters product or something like similar like this? Now, and the name of the Reuters product has just slipped my mind. But you know,
Trep,
yeah. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I think what we're hearing in the market is that clients want to have flexibility in where they get their market data from, or any of their data from. And so we are partners with Refinitiv, we're partners with Bloomberg, and clients are very happy with the data that they're getting from those providers. And so we're just looking to help facilitate and make the environment more flexible, more neutral. So if they did decide they wanted to get a specific piece of data from another provider, a good example is regulatory data or ESG data. If they wanted to get that from you, from RegTech Data Hub, they could do that, but still continue to get data from Bloomberg via their normal channel. So you know, other types of data. So we're looking to build flexibility into the market, and that's why clients are coming to us and saying, come in, install, do it in the cloud if you can, and let's get more neutral. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Can I ask one follow-up question to that? Because one of the other things we hear a lot is that a lot of clients is looking into actually starting their cloud journey, but they are a little worried about security and also stability of running cloud solutions. Could you share some experience in, because you're running something with a really low latency issues, and well, I can't imagine of anything more complicated to do than market data in the cloud. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there are domicile and local regulatory issues that affect clients' decisions to go to the cloud or not go to the cloud, and those are things that are going to happen and be addressed over time. Switzerland is different than Germany, is different than London, is different than the US, right? So those need to be analyzed and addressed. But so far as the cloud journey is concerned, you know, we always encourage clients to start slowly, to get educated on the cloud, to get comfortable with the cloud first. And once they get comfortable with the cloud and they start to see how well it works, they're going to get more and more confident at moving more things to the cloud. We have a very large client in the States who is doing real-time snapshot, end of day, intraday data, opera data, those kind of volumes of data in the AWS cloud today without a problem. And they're failing over from one zone to the other. They're doing disaster recovery between one region and another. And eventually they'll do multi-cloud probably. So the technology, I think, is there. It's just a matter of people need to get comfortable with their capabilities as well as what's possible within each one of the geographies.
Thanks, much appreciated.
No problem.
I might can add that we see the same as you do, Bill, with enabling this easy transition of providers, and a lot of places that the switch costs currently are very, very high because they have a very tight infrastructure that is tied to one specific data vendor, and that kind of ruins their leverage in negotiations on prices and so on and so forth. So definitely having a clear cut between your own infrastructure and the platform is something that will leverage your possibilities for doing data maintenance.
And also control reporting. I mean, the biggest concern data consumers have is getting an audit. That's their biggest concern. And I think if you have a platform that's universal and common across all your data providers, you can run reports and check reports and also save costs as well if you have something like that. So that's one of the other reasons why we like to use the cloud for this. We like to use a common entitlement system.
Mm.
Any other questions? Okay, AK, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you everybody for joining, and the recording will be available if you want to watch it again or give it to somebody else. And I think it's going to be on both of our YouTube channels, I think, ultimately, over the course of the next few days. But thanks everybody for joining. AK, thank you for getting this organized, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for joining. And if anybody are interested in getting back to either of us, then you're of course welcome to reach out.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.